Hello and welcome to this. I seem to have trouble speaking for the last 2 days, probably because I'm a bit tired. And my reflections on day 69. Seems quite amazing that tomorrow will be 10 weeks since, I don't know, first I finished rereading Wayne Dyer's version of the Tao. But yeah, so day 69. What's been 69 has been all about. It's been about our relationship with enemies. It's probably an extension of the relationship with day 68 for a whole host of people. Not to be in a position where one has any enemies. And of course, we have complete choice over that, don't we? Because we choose to be able to place someone in a position where they are, in fact, our enemy. And once again, it's bringing everything down to microcosms of moments. I think there are very few of us that spend our life having mortal enemies. Obviously, unless you're a watcher of The Big Bang Theory and are now trying to emulate Sheldon Cooper, where you're in a position where you have a list of them. But essentially, how does one reach a point traditionally where one has an enemy or sees someone as the enemy? I think that's more important to be able to view that, is that we choose to see them as different, and so different that actually we are incredibly uncomfortable by what that person is or represents. And so there's the echoing of this idea of cooperation, the echoing of this idea that everybody is genuinely doing the best they can with what they've got, but quite often, excuse me, they'll do it differently. That phrase of common sense gets bandied around so many times, and different to you very often means that there's no common sense. I think is a metaphor for that lots of people use in life. We all see the world differently. We can't ever see the world in the same way, and the second we step into the dualistic world of right and wrong, then we're gonna be in a place where we're gonna see people as doing things as wrong, and then there's degrees of wrongness, and eventually you get to the point where we feel as though that person is now at total odds with us. They are our enemy, and of course that isn't necessarily the case, and there is a colossal amount of mileage in us exploring how other people think and feel about the world. I think the word enemy is quite a strong one, and it's definitely not the word that has particularly resonated with me over the course of today. I can't think of any situation in life where I've had an enemy. There's a few places in life, in my former life, where we've had the enemy, and I don't know. I'm going to have to sit separately and think about that, because the difference between what was going on at the time and my relationship with the enemy is maybe one to explore for another day. I've definitely explored today in the relationship of enemies and an enemy as I have experienced my life today. As I'm sure that most people have spent most of today not in a place where they have been in mortal combat with other human beings or another human being, where they've had to be able to fight for their lives. But quite often we find ourselves in a place where we are in conflict with lots and lots of people, and sometimes we have to explore the patterns in that. And is that about us and our need to be right? Is it about us and our ability to want to be able to prove them to be wrong? What are those patterns? Or is it just that we don't necessarily have the flexibility? Or is it the fact that we're unable to be able to recognize that actually other people think and feel different things, and it is just a tough gig to wish them peace, love and courage on their journey, because it just seems easier for us to be able to see ourselves at odds and to dismiss them and everything connected to them. Today, on the one hand, today's been a beautiful day because it's been a place where the sun has shone and I've had loads of time to be outside. But the other word that's also resonated in relationship with this conceptual idea of the enemy has been forgiveness, and to be able to forgive people and to be able to let stuff go. And one of the things at times that creates, I think, people as enemies for others at times is not actually something that they've physically done. It's because of our perception and our inability to be able to forgive. And so it goes round and round and round, and every time the scenario is run, there's another layer added to it, and yet another layer added to it, and eventually, actually, the perception of what is or isn't going on in that situation in our head is way bigger than actually the one that occurred. And that very often when a conversation is had, it's just a simple misunderstanding because people have forgotten to connect with the intention that sat behind the original behaviour. And so forgiveness is a really powerful way of allowing us to once again to connect with the human being behind the behaviour. And that's something that has become really important for me over many, many years of my life. And so today, to be able to, and I've thought about a few people today actually in life, not necessarily who have been an enemy, but actually it could easily have become something that it shouldn't have been, or something that it wasn't. And just to be able to think about who it is that I needed to be able to offer some forgiveness to. Because remember, they weren't involved in the conversation, so actually the only person that ultimately benefits from the act of forgiveness is you, because the little bit of you that is still hanging on to, whatever it is that you're hanging on to, which is normally quite toxic, is you get the ability to let it go, to be able to say, I forgive you, and you can carry on and go on your own way, and you can have an element of peace about that. So my little mission for day 69, for those of you that want to pick up the baton and to run alongside me, is to ask yourself, who is it that you're going to forgive? For what? And what benefit will you allowing yourself to be at peace around that give to you in your life? So wishing you all a very metaphoric peace, love and courage, and maybe just take a moment and think about who and what you need to forgive.